I am back with another video, and this time it is on the Weekly Cycle Sequential SMT. These are quarterly theory concepts developed by Day the Trader, and the assets we are testing are going to be ES, NQ, and YM for the period from March 3rd, 2024 to March 2nd of 2026. We have 105 weeks that the code sampled. And so here's a quick disclaimer. This presentation is for educational research purposes only. It's not financial advice, a trade recommendation, or a guarantee of future results. Futures trading involves substantial risk and is not suitable for every trader. Backtested results are hypothetical and may differ from live execution because of slippage, commissions, liquidity, platform data, and execution rules. Okay, so this backtest, here is the logic of it. This time, there is no trade execution. This is just for data purposes. What I was looking to accomplish with this code, this script, was to see how often the weekly high or low is put in when we have a weekly sequential SMT. Okay, so divergence means one or two assets break the prior weekly cycle high or low while at least one asset holds. A held divergence gets credit when it survives and marks a symbol's weekly high or low. A divergence where at least one originally holding asset keeps holding that reference level into the week's end is considered a held divergence. And a spent level is when all three assets break a reference level, later signals from that same levels are ignored. Invalidation is when the held idea fails if all originally holding assets later break the same reference level. So if the other assets end up invalidating or breaking that previous quarter high or low, then we have an invalidation. And we have symbol specific data here. So ES, NQ, and YM highs and lows are measured separately and not as one blended price. Okay. And here is the weekly cycle definitions. Okay. So quarter one is from Sunday's open to Monday 1759. Pretty much quarter one is Monday's trading day, quarter two is Tuesday's trading day, quarter three is Wednesday, quarter four is Thursday, and Friday, according to the concepts, Friday is not considered a quarter but has its own function in terms of the weekly cycle. Okay, let's look at a chart and the data. So I have this one marked out here, December 7th, 2025. And so the raw data gives me the weekly low timestamps. And this one shows we had ES and YM had a weekly cycle sequential SMT at the high of the week. And they had ES, NQ, and YM had a weekly cycle even at the low of the week. Let's check out the chart. So even though Friday is not considered a quarter, it is still on here. So we got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Q1, 2, 3, and 4 on the weekly cycle. And to the left, ES, NQ, and YM. Okay, so here we have a weekly cycle sequential SMT that marked the high of the week. And so on NQ, we didn't run that previous high. On ES, we did. And this ended up being the high. And then we fell down and we had another divergence that ended up marking the low of the week too. So if you look, Monday, the low of the week ended up being on Wednesday, and we broke it right here on that Friday. And same thing for ES, whereas YM, it didn't put the low of the week in, but we still had a sequential SMT event here. But the sequential SMT to the upside did put the high in. So that is that. Let's look at the data. Here is the summary. So we had 835 divergences that were counted. 37% survived to the week end without a full invalidation. 526 did get invalidated, which is about 63% of all original held assets later break the level. And 251 marked a weekly extreme. All right. So here is a weekly high or low breakdown. How often held divergences marked the weekly extreme. So in this case, we had 154 bearish held divergences that marked at least one of the symbol's weekly highs. We had 97 that marked at least one symbol's weekly low. And we had 74, or just over 70% of the time of all 105 weeks studied, we had a held divergence either mark the high or the low. Over 70% chance a weekly cycle sequential SMT marked the high or low low of the week. Okay, it's pretty good. It's crazy. That's it. So there's no trade execution, so I guess this one was pretty quick, but pretty informative. That weekly cycle sequential SMT looks like it is pretty significant, and it does mark the higher low of the week about 70% of the time. Well, that's all I got for you on this one. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. And this landing page will be launching here soon for my website, pythonbacktesting.com. If you like these PowerPoints and you want to check out the raw data and even look at the raw code, all right, this is coming out in the next 30 to 60 days. So make sure you go here, put your email into the box here so that you get notified when I'm about to launch this website. All right, this landing page should be up and running. If you go to this website and it's not up, give it a couple days, maybe by the end of the weekend, I should have it up and running for you. That's all I got. Thanks for watching.